Level 80, perfectly awful. De Broyer is looking a little green around the gills. Greetings, madam. I am De Broyer, a student of nutritional sciences from Professor Galvaroche's research laboratory at your service. If I'm not mistaken, you're the alchemist who has come to us by way of Kialiapo's introduction, yes? Wonderful. I would very much like to request your help with a certain, oh my. Forgive me, my stomach is not entirely at its best. Professor Galvaroche bid me try a sample of newly created comestible, you see? The taste was well, and the texture, oh dear. Perhaps you should just experience it firsthand. One mouthful is worth 1,000 words and all that. Great, join me over at Maker's Meat, and I can initiate you in the wonders of experimental foodstuffs. What about Awana? Thank you ever so much for coming. Let's set the table for you, shall we? Oh, on first inspection, it seems to be an ordinary loaf of bread. Yes, now try a slice. Initial flavor is like a numbness on the tip of your tongue, which gradually transitions into an overall sense of crushing emptiness. It is quite possibly the worst thing you have ever eaten. Doesn't it taste awful? When it comes to the perfect meal, flavor is irrelevant. Professor Galvaroche, I wasn't. Why, the very concept of gourmet cuisine has led to all manner of unhealthy excess. Too much salt, too much sugar, and entirely too much fatty content is employed in the pursuit of satisfying this obsession with taste. The loaf we are laboring so hard to produce will contain everything necessary to sustain an adult body in one efficient, easily consumed serving, as I said, the perfect meal. Professor, if I might introduce. By Thaliac, all this time wasted on idle chatter. If we are ever to attain true perfection, then every spare moment must be spent upon our research. Your task was to improve the Penteloaf's digestibility, was it not? Then let us be getting on with it. Swift, sure, efficient. You must excuse the professor's brusque manner. I know he seems eccentric, but the field of nutritional science was practically built upon the foundation of that man's research. Surely you've heard of the infamous Archon loaf. It was Professor Galvaroche who proposed the recipe. In any case, I do apologize for serving you such a foul-tasting creation, but I needed you to understand the gravity of the situation. Come to the last stand, and I shall offer you something to cleanse your palate while I more fully explain the issue at hand. Great, take a seat, and I shall be with you in a moment. Hope you still have an appetite. I'm not studying, I actually work here in the kitchens, and that one there is a dish I devised myself using all the knowledge I've acquired about food and flavor. Enjoy. This is heavenly, incredible, as if my tongue has been purified by some divine nectar. So glad you liked it. You do is you take a lobster, freshly caught from the Indigo Deep, scoop out the meat and saute with butter and olive oil. Next, you steam in white wine. You must take care not to overcook it at this point. You then need to stuff it back into the shell, sprinkle liberally with thyme, oregano, and rosemary before baking in the oven at a steady heat, not too hot, of course, and then... Yes, thank you. I'll take your word for it. Well, whatever you did, it was delicious. And my apologies. As you may have noticed, cooking is something of a passion of mine. Brings us to my present problem, and the reason I so desperately require your assistance. It all began when agents of the Forum contacted Professor Galvaroche seeking to draw upon his wisdom and the nutritional expertise of his research facility. The request was simple. They wished him to invent a singular meal that could provide all the daily nutrients a person needs to survive. They expressed their intent to develop a food supply for emergencies, and thus the only condition imposed was that it be possible to prepare this miracle dish from ingredients readily available in Labyrinthos. For his part, the professor threw himself into the work and routinely intensely using the Archon loaf as a base to devise a new type of bread, the most recent batch of which I inflicted upon you earlier. Archon loaf was never praised for its flavor to begin with, and it seems the more nutrients you pack into the mix, the more revolting it becomes. Some volunteers have even been known to retch up the contents of their bellies after choking down a sample. Suspecting that a difficulty with digestion was to blame, Professor Galvaroche asked that I work on making our meal easier to stomach, but the fact is it simply tastes terrible. Can you imagine if there truly was some emergency and we were forced to live on Panaloaf alone? People would survive, of course, but gods, would they wish they hadn't. To make matters worse, the professor sees gourmet cooking as a wasteful abomination. If the Forum adopts his recipe, there's very real chance he might champion Panaloaf not only as a candidate for emergency supplies, but as a new nationwide food staple. By and large, Charlians prefer meals that are easily prepared and easily consumed over more flavorful but less time-efficient culinary efforts. Scholars busy with their research will settle for sandwiches more often than not. That ambivalent attitude towards food is exactly why I fear this horrible bread might actually be accepted into our everyday diets. Shortly and myself, I never had much interest in fine dining. Then I tried a dish at the last stand, and it was as if an entirely new world had opened up before me. I soon discovered that a course in nutritional science would grant access to a vast repository of information on recipes and ingredients, so I enrolled as a student in the Studium's Faculty of Medicine. Their approach to food preparation was purely academic, utilitarian. I reasoned that if I was to learn anything about gourmet cooking, then finding employment here would be the surest route. In fact, I was on the brink of abandoning my formal studies altogether when this request came in from the Forum. A lover of fine foods, nay, as a person with functional tongue, I am compelled to prevent this crime against cuisine from entering society in its current form. Fortunately, I have the opportunity to improve the Panaloaf's flavor under the guise of carrying out the professor's instructions. It will, however, be exceedingly difficult to enhance the taste without sacrificing any nutritional value, especially considering my lack of practical experience. My theory is sound, but when it comes to technical expertise. And that, my dear alchemist, is why I need you. If you do decide to help, then please, I beg you, come and see me at Maker's Meat. That was a mouthful. Oh, there you are. Can I assume this means you wish to aid me with my Panaloaf predicament? Charlian's Lordas must be saved. No one else must suffer as I have. I gladly accept your assistance. Praise the scholar for bringing us this savior in our hour of need. Oh dear me, I just realized. How could I put you through all that and not ask your name? Well then, I look forward to working with you. Level 80, perfectly awful, complete. Faculty of Medicine, Studium deliveries unlocked. You may now undertake deliveries for the Faculty of Medicine at the Studium. Speak to De Broglie to learn more. Level 80, make it sweeter. De Broglie is eager to begin the process of improving the Panaloaf. Let us get straight down to business, shall we? The main problem with Panaloaf is that the recipe calls for a wide variety of wholesome substances, resulting in extremely eclectic and subsequently extremely disgusting mixture of flavors. Now that I've managed to bake a slightly less repulsive version by adjusting the balance of ingredients, but the taste remains indistinct and unsatisfying. It needs seasoning of some kind, and badly. To that end, I put together a recipe for a sweetener using those materials which are readily available in Labyrinthos, not in any amount which would contradict our healthy and nutritious mandate, of course. Concocting the sweetener itself, however, is a job for experts, and so I'd like to entrust it to you. Very soon we will have taken our first step to making the panel loaf halfway enjoyable. Studium delivery commenced. Faculty of Medicine deliveries are now available. By delivering the requested items to Debroya and raising yourself in her esteem, you can assist her with her mission to turn Panel Loaf into a properly perfect meal. Items with higher collectability will result in greater rewards upon delivery. Speak to Debroya to view the custom deliveries list. Sweetener. Cake is sweet. Recipe for the sweetener isn't giving you any trouble, I hope. I can hardly wait to see how it turns out. Not reading. Thank you. After trying a little taste, I can safely say that you've managed to hit the sweet spot. Not overly mild and not overly rich. Making your first successful delivery, you have begun to earn de Broyer's trust. Deliver the items de Broyer needs and deliver them often to improve your standing with the Faculty of Medicine. With your sweetener added to the mix, I went ahead and baked a second test batch of Panel Loaf. As for the result, well, it took some samples over the last stand for the customers to try, and they said the taste was passable, which is a significant improvement over the nausea-inducing wretchedness of the original recipe. As I had hoped, a little sweetness was instrumental in tying the myriad flavors together. Key here being a little sweetness. We wouldn't want to go overboard and endanger the nutritional balance of our perfect meal. I'm told one of the regulars is at his table today, and he is a man with decidedly particular palate. Why don't we head over and ask for his impression of our second batch? We're gonna have to keep running back over there. Okay, good. I may ask, what did you think of the bread, sir? Not bad, not bad. I give the flavor a passing grade. The texture, however, needs some attention. Ah, the texture. Not overly noticeable with a bite-sized sample, but after one or two full slices, I fear one might begin to struggle with somewhat dry and powdery consistency. I had not considered that. Thank you for your most valuable insight, sir. We will certainly keep that in mind for future batches. Well, that was a much-needed reminder. In my rush to enhance the flavor, I've neglected to account for changes in the texture. Introducing the sweetener must have affected the consistency of the dough. Nothing is ever simple, is it? Improving the texture will be our next task. Then I'll give the problem some thought, then we can work together on creating the solution. Level 80. Make it sweeter. Complete. Studium delivery complete. Steam level increased. Debroyer now considers you reliable baker. Debroyer is pleased with your efforts. She now considers you a reliable baker. Level 83. Remember the texture. Debroyer appears to have had a revelation. Zilly, my partner in Panel Loaf improvement. I've been researching the subject of texture, and I think I've found the cause of that powdery problem. Answer lies in the yeast. It seems the sugar content of the sweetener weakened its usual effects, preventing the dough from being fully leavened. Which means that if we can create a yeast more properly suited to sweeten dough, then our bread will be as moist as we care to make it. Knowing, however, it's not quite the same as doing. While I understand the basics, formulating yeast from scratch is rather beyond my current abilities. Once more, I must call upon you to rise to the occasion. Ahem, sorry. Studium delivery commenced. Progress. Much easier than fishing. More. I'm afraid our bread will never be all that it can be if we cannot solve this yeastly dilemma. This is some potent looking yeast. Trust me, after the hours I spent staring at such things during my studies, the quality is obvious. Thanks to all your hard work, the third test batch of Panaloaf turned out just as moist as we had hoped. And all without compromising the original integrity of its nutritional content. Well received by the clientele at the last stand, and even our difficult-to-please regular gave it a seal of approval. Would, however, like to hear the opinion of the, to my knowledge, foremost gourmand in Charlian. Speak of Master Dickon, the owner of Last Stand. Everything I know about gourmet cooking I owe to that man. Come, why don't we go and see what he has to say? Master Dickon, what did you think of the third batch? Aye, it's a decent loaf, all right. Certainly a far cry from what you started with, and that's very first sample tasted like a sponge fished out of a sewer ditch. I expect you have your new friend to thank for the sudden leap in progress. Koya's efforts made all the difference. I swore a vendetta against that foul-tasting evil. Oh, my dear, you gourmet after my own heart, a crusader for culinary quality. Be that as it may, you yet have work to do. You've worked wonders with the taste and texture, but there's no aroma. It needs a savory scent to draw you in and set your mouth to watering. So it isn't smelly enough? The road to gastronomic excellence is never ending, it seems, but if that is what it takes to earn your full approval, then we must bake on. Ah, you remind me of old Mervyn. He was a fellow who built this place and dedicated his life to bringing fine food to Charlian. Life ended before he truly accomplished his goal, and the last stand passed on to me. Even now, gourmet cooking remains something of a foreign concept in this nation. The kind of place where puffed-up experts like your professor label their nutritional experiments the perfect meal, as if anything with such a revolting flavor could ever be deemed perfect. Listen, the last stand was named for a reason. We're a cultural outpost, the final defense against those who would condemn Charlian's diet to blandness and monotony. If you share Mervyn's dream, and I believe you do, then I implore you to carry on his legacy. After hearing what Master Dickon had to say, I'm more determined than ever to make a truly perfected panalope. As before, allow me to sometime to cogitate on the problem, and then we can see about adding a tantalizing aroma to the next batch of bread. 83, remember the texture, complete. Studium delivery complete. Team level increased. DeBroyer now considers you an indispensable baker. DeBroyer is delighted with your efforts. She now considers you an indispensable baker. Level 85. Aroma is key. DeBroyer's nose is twitching in anticipation of your arrival. I think I have it. Method to infuse the panalope with more alluring aroma. The key is to blend more fragrant oil into the dough, which will not only lend our bread a lovely scent, but also improve its savory flavor. Oils and fats need to be kept to an absolute minimum, of course, so we'll need a variety that provides the greatest effect for the smallest amount. I have a basic idea of how a low-fat aromatic substance might be achieved, but oil require your help with the advanced process involved to make it. Sorry, that was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. Wow. Studium delivery commenced. Oh. Mm. One more. Fragrant oil. That will be the secret ingredient in our fourth and hopefully final test batch. It will not be our final test batch. Several levels to go. Gracious me, that smells incredible. I'm actually drooling. Once we work that aroma into the bread, people will be lining up to try a slice. We've done it. The aromatic temptation of our fourth batch has proven irresistible. Last Stand patrons have even started placing orders for us to bake more. And in a happy coincidence, new oil also served to plump up our loaf until it resembles a small, scrumptious cloud. I even measured the fat content just in case, and we are well within the accepted parameters. Surely now we've achieved the true bakery perfection. I suppose there's only one way to find out. Let's head over to the cafe and ask for Master Dickens' verdict. Please, Master Dickon, don't leave us in suspense. Nope. This is unacceptable. Not have you baking bread that's more delicious than mine. You've outdone yourselves this time. Full marks. Yes. Now that we have the Master's unconditional approval, I believe that signals an end to our testing process. We make a wonderful team. How disappointing to find you frittering away the hours like this, and here of all places. Set aside my assignment on digestive issues to pursue the trivial art of gourmet cooking. I'll not deny it. That is exactly what I've been doing. Let me tell you why. The problem with Penelope was never a difficulty with digestion. It was the awful taste that was making people feel ill. Lest you believe our efforts in vain, then I ask you to try a sample of our 4th test batch. I think you'll find the flavor much improved. Hey, I have no interest in your mundane concerns over flavor. The very subject sickens me. What I will do, however, is analyze the nutritional value of your much improved Penelope. We shall see if it even meets the criteria for a proper meal substitute. I must inform you that your 4th test batch is a failure. It is sorely lacking in ascorbic acid, a vital nutrient which any prospective meal replacement must contain. Deficient levels of ascorbic acid lead to outbreaks of scurvy. It is an illness which often afflicts sailors on long sea voyages and can also be prevalent in times of famine and hardship. Citrus fruits are an effective measure to combat scurvy, but one cannot always rely on a fresh supply of oranges or lemons. As such, the perfect meal of choice is one which readily fulfills that role. I have already succeeded in adding this nutrient to my original Penelope and am prepared to make my submission to the forum. But the acid, how did you expect me to reveal my techniques to one who so blatantly disregarded my instructions? I am sorry, Mr. Broye, but you are hereby relieved from your current duty. So be it. I will perfect our version of Penelope without your assistance and submit the recipe as a contender to your own. A contest, then. May the best bread win. However, in the event that your recipe fails to garner the forum's favor, I will see you disciplined for the misuse of research funding. Your punishment will be expulsion from my research facility, nay, from the studium itself. Professor Galvarosh, if you're so intent on ruining my employee's future, then I think I'm entitled to a question or two. From what old Mervyn told me, the two of you were once classmates. More than that, you were good friends, so I'd like to understand, why do you hold so much hate for the thing he held so dear? Mervyn was an exceptional student, but he threw away his academic career for the love of a well-made meal. This cafe he built, the incessant taste testing, not more than excuses to indulge in course after course of gourmet food and drink, was reckless pursuit of that passion which sent him to an early grave. Your fine dining is a curse. It befuddled the mind of a brilliant young man, slew him as surely as any slow-acting poison. Now, if you have nothing further to say, I must return to my research. Swift, sure, efficient. It's like a bundle of fun, huh? I had no idea the professor and Mervyn were ever acquainted, let alone classmates and friends. At least now I understand why my actions upset him so. We cannot give up. For the sake of Charlane's bellies, you must help me win the forum's minds. You can count on me. Our crusade for culinary quality continues. Thank you. I shall figure out the issue with ascorbic acid, and then we can start our test batch number 5, although I think it's time we had a proper name for our Penelope. I nominate Mervyn Bread in honor of the Last Dam's founder. Get the oven heated up and show the professor what we and our loaves are made of. Level 85, aroma is key, complete. Steam level increased. Roy now considers you an irreplaceable baker. Roy is now overjoyed with your efforts. She now considers you an irreplaceable baker. New quest continuing the story of Faculty of Medicine is now available. Level 85, long live the gourmet. De Broglie is practically bursting with determination and purpose. Professor Galvarosh has so eagerly pointed out, our Mervyn bread cannot be considered a perfect meal until we load it with sufficient quantity of ascorbic acid. The problem is, all the citrus fruit varieties grown in Labyrinthos have distressingly low values of this key nutrient. They say it has something to do with how false sun cannot entirely replace the effects of natural sunlight. As for our purposes, we are unlikely to improve the Mervyn bread's levels of ascorbic acid simply by adding a Labyrinthos orange or two to the list of ingredients. Yet the professor claimed to have managed a feat. The question is how? Synthesize the acid himself? He lied about using produce from within Labyrinthos. Yes, it's entirely possible. We may have manufactured the nutrient using elements extracted from readily available Labyrinthos produce. The process he employed, however, is a mystery. It would take me months to research a manufacturing method from scratch, but we cannot allow the professor to submit his Panalove unopposed. We need to consult with another expert on the subject. Razatan is the home of alchemy, and one of its noted practitioners, Master Jalvaz, is Near East's leading authority on nutritional science. Never had the pleasure myself, but perhaps he will assent to an audience if we show up on his doorstep. New Aetheryte allows us to travel to Thavnir directly, so it should save us some time. Let us be swift and sure. We might have to work on it efficient. Oh no, we're going to Yetlamad. Kept saying Razatan, so. Groan. I feel sick to my stomach, but it's nothing compared to the nausea I suffered after one bite of Professor's Panalove. Come on, we'll find Master Jalvaz in the city proper. So this is the fabled city of Razatan. It's even more vibrant than I imagined. Yes, this is my first visit to Thavnir. To be perfectly honest, it's my first time I've ever left Sharlayan. What have you? Have you been here before? You can lead the way. I've studied the layout of this place from top to bottom on parchment, but in the flesh I'd probably get us lost before we'd taken 10 steps. Documents I've read mentioned Master Jalvaz's affiliation with the High Crucible of Alchemy. I wondered, though, the man should be getting on in years. He may very well have retired. Anyway, it's somewhere to start. Let's head there now and see if he's still in residence. Boyer is now accompanying you. Keep her at her side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave De Broyer behind by entering a different area by speaking with her and electing the option to part ways. If you wish to have De Broyer accompany you again, return and speak with her at the original location. We don't have to run. Just the Crucible. Now that an impressive piece of alchemical apparatus, why I wager they could concoct almost any mixture they pleased in such a grand furnace. Apologies, just some lingering ethereal sickness. Let's press on. Jalvaz, never heard of the fellow. He may have worked here once, but I know no one of that name among my present colleagues. And I suppose he is retired after all. Actually, considering his age, there is no guarantee the man is even... Well, let us assume he is still among us for the moment. Shall we continue our inquiries on the floor below? Discuss alchemy. They've spared no expense on this facility. When it comes to the field of alchemy, it would seem that Razatan is mom's ahead of everyone else, even the learned professors of Sharlayan. You're looking for Jalvaz, the alchemist? That would be my great-grandfather, but it's been quite some time since he last worked here. Your great-grandfather? He was a great man. He is, over 100 summers young, and he's still going strong. As a prominent scholar of nutrition and health, he's always practiced what he preaches. While he's even spry enough to visit the tavern from time to time, if you head over to Merid's Mahane, you might catch a chance to see him there. That's wonderful news. Thank you. I'm very eager to meet him. There you have it. Our next destination is Oh dear, Aetherite Travel did not agree with me. Ahem, deep breaths and away to Merid's Main. Here we go. Oh, make all those stops. You have to see the conversations. Discuss local cuisine. Oh my, authentic Hannish curries and spicy aromas to die for. As much as I would love to sample all the foods on offer, my gourmet research will have to wait. Discuss local wares. So much alchemical equipment, even with all the time I've spent at the Faculty of Medicine, I've never seen even half of these devices. Perhaps I should spend some time studying here in Thavnair. I don't see anyone who matches the portrait from the books, which makes sense considering how young he was in that particular picture. I wonder what he... Uh, yes? Don't you worry now, young lady. I'll brew a remedy that'll put you back on your feet in a twinkling. Thank you, sir. I feel ever so much better. I've never heard of a bout of ethereal sickness lasting this long. Oh no, my dear, you are quite clearly suffering from a severe case of anemia. All the symptoms point to a lack of ascorbic acid. Without that nutrient, your body has trouble absorbing iron, which in turn leads to thinning blood, a disturbing pallor, and extreme fatigue. Medicine I gave you will remedy the intermediate issues, but I strongly suggest you rethink your dietary habits. We wouldn't want your youthful promise stolen by a fatal case of scurvy now, would we? Now that I think on it, I've been eating nothing but Panalope samples since we started all this. It's the reason that our yet-to-be perfected meals would leave me low on ascorbic acid. Thaliac saved me. I almost made for the same mistake as Mervyn. Your knowledge of the nutritional sciences is most impressive, Master. Oh, it's just plain old Jalvaz these days. My dear, I'm retired now, but I've learned a thing or two about healthy eating and longevity over the years. So you are Jalvad. I knew it. My name is De Broyer, and I study nutrition at the Studium in Charlian. I come seeking wisdom from the foremost expert in the field, that being you, of course. If you know a viable laboratory method for manufacturing ascorbic acid, then I humbly request that you instruct me in the process. Isn't this a coincidence? It wasn't long ago that a professor from your studium approached me looking to solve the exact same dilemma. Yes, I know of a method. I was the one who discovered it, but the sweat of my brow comes at a price, Mr. Broyer, and a rather rich one at that. How rich? Professor paid it without so much as raising an eyebrow, but I'm afraid the cost of my services is beyond the means of the average student. Still, it hardly seems fair to turn you away at the gate. I tell you what, why don't I make you a deal? See, I've always been a lover of curries, but when you've eaten as many as I have, you begin to grow tired of the same Hannish flavors. And I recently came to learn of an Eorzean-style curry plate that I am desperate to try. I obtained the recipe from trader, and I've even gone so far as to gather the ingredients so the cook here can take a stab at preparing the dish. But now Destiny has seen fit to drop a pair of Western travelers in my lap, and who better to make Western cuisine than natives of those lands, eh? Here's my offer. You prepare the curry, and I teach you the method, provided my palate is properly tickled. We accept. I promise you we will make the most delicious curry you've ever tasted. That other visitor was almost certainly Professor Galvaroche, which means the process he learned is one which can be followed using resources from Labyrinthos. What's more, Eorzean curry is one of the last stand's most famous dishes. I've made it many times. First, you caramelize the onions to bring out their sweetness, add the bouillon, dice your choice of it, then ensure to skim the floaty from the water, of course, and then... Boy, you save it for the kitchen. You lost me. Sorry, I did it again, didn't I? Anyway, yes, I know all the steps aside from mixing the golden spice. Master Dickon was always the one to prepare that ingredient. If you could take care of that part, then I'd be more than happy to handle everything else. As I said, I have all the ingredients you need and more besides. Cook away and let me know if you're running low on anything. My mouth is watering already. How's that spice mixture coming along? It smells wonderful. This will give our curry the perfect amount of zest. This is what a Eorzean curry looks like. The colors, the aroma, it's so different to what we serve here. Now for all the all-important taste. Is it to your liking, sir? Fantastic. The more you eat, the more the layers of flavor compound into a harmonious orchestra of deliciousness. I say you can taste the chef's intention in a meal, and your determination to impress me has infused every bite. Then you'll share your method with us? Of course I will. A meal such as that is worth more than a man's weight in gold. Is that what the other guy paid? The coconut milk is the key. Thank you so much, Dalvaz, sir. There is one more thing I would ask, if I may. What, in your opinion, is the biggest secret to health and long life? Well-balanced diet is important, no doubt about that, but I believe you must enjoy what you eat. It always seemed to me that digestion is aided by how much one relishes a meal, and the better one's digestion, the more nutrients one's body absorbs. Exactly, I've often thought the same myself. It's been a great help to us, sir. We wish you many more years of healthy living to come. Although I would love to more thoroughly explore Radatan's gourmet delights, we must hurry back to Charlie and perhaps another time. Studium. Thank you for accompanying me to such a far-flung locale and on such short notice. I don't know if I could have secured that alchemical process from Jalvaz without your assistance, but now that we have it, our next batch of Mervyn bread will be well and truly perfect. This time for certain. Level 85, long live the gourmet, complete. Level 88, perfectly delectable. DeRoy is in a state of despair. Oh, Zilly. I've been trying and trying to make that ascorbic acid. I've done exactly as Jalvaz instructed, follows his steps to the letter, but it all ends in failure. Embarrassing as it is to admit, I simply lack the expertise. The process requires a far more competent hand than mine. So here I am at the last, asking for your help once more. Please, I need you to manufacture the additive that will perfect our perfect meal. Studium delivery commenced. Attitude. Big acid attitude. Narration. Mm-hmm. All our Mervin bread needs is a viable ascorbic additive. I may have failed in this at that endeavor, but I have faith that you will succeed. Incredible. It's practically glowing with goodness. This added to our creation. I have every confidence that the bread will pass any test they care to subject it to. With your additive well added to the mix, I put a batch of Mervin bread into the oven to bake it. It should be ready any moment now. This is it, the final fluffy result of much trial and error. It looks delicious. It looks so familiar. Well, have a bite. We did it. And how does it taste? Missing something. Amazing as it looks, like streams of flavor blending into a single river of ambrosial delight. Wonderful. And the texture? Like biting into a soft-baked cloud. It's like natural law has been suspended to create this one moment of unparalleled puffy-crusted bliss. Fantastic. And last but not least, what did you think of the aroma? Luscious, savory smell is to die for. It's like a siren scent of savory temptation which no mortal stomach can resist. Exactly what I thought. All the disparate elements have come together so well. Flavor, texture, aroma, not to mention a perfect balance of nutrients. And I have you to thank for this delectable achievement. Yes, I believe the current incarnation of Mervin bread has a good chance of swaying the form in our favor. You are attending the evaluation, aren't you? In fact, I must insist upon it. Level 88, perfectly delectable, complete. Studium delivery complete. Steam level increased. Royer now considers you a consummate baker. Royer is thrilled with your efforts. She now considers you a consummate baker. Level 90, Charlian Cuisine. Royer is brimming with confidence. This is it. Forum is ready to begin the evaluation process. We've worked. Oh, whoops. Accidentally clicked on it. Much for that. What are we? Can't be that important, right? Can't all be winners. I know I said I was confident, but the thought of actually standing before the forum has my stomach all in knots. Courage, Debroya, courage. Debroya. Team colleagues, we have convened today to evaluate and select a suitable candidate for our proposed meal substitute. Previously discussed, this meal substitute will serve as an emergency provision, such as when our usual sources of food are restricted to otherwise unreliable. To be considered viable, submission must satisfy our stipulated conditions, namely that it must be possible to prepare the meal using only ingredients available in Labyrinthos, and that it also provides all the nutrients necessary to sustain day-to-day survival. First of two candidates is the Panelope, submitted by Professor Galvaroche, with whom I am sure you are all familiar. Second is Mervyn Bread, submitted by one Miss Debroya, a student of Faculty of Medicine. Members of the Council of Culinary Assurance will select one of these candidates following a thorough nutritional analysis and trial consumption of these samples provided. Analysis has determined that both submissions meet the basic nutritional requirements to qualify as meal replacements. And as they share the same nutritional value, the only consideration left to judge them upon is taste. Even being generous, it would be difficult to describe the flavor of Panelope as pleasing. Mervyn Bread, on the other hand, is a culinary delight. On grounds of this assessment, Mervyn Bread is clearly the superior choice. Beg to differ. Yes, I admit that Penelope has little to offer in the way of gastronomic enjoyment. But have you considered the matter from the viewpoints of efficiency? Mervyn Bread's flavor requires the addition of specific sweeteners and oils, not to mention particular variety of yeast, an involved process which demands excessive time and exertion. This beef for Penelope, however, was devised with simplicity in mind, allowing one to manufacture the same quantity of food with but a fraction of the effort. I implore you to reconsider your decision. After all, this is an emergency comestible we are discussing here, not some gourmet menu item. You raise a valid argument, Professor. We have indeed overlooked the question of efficiency. Should a situation arise that necessitates a supply of emergency rations, then ease of manufacture would certainly be a primary concern, and in that respect, your Penelope holds a significant advantage. If I might offer an opinion, Master Flaugustert, to what do we owe this unexpected pleasure? Curiosity, mostly. I may be retired, but all this talk of perfect meal piqued my interest. Wait, I know you. Yeah, he tasted our bread at the beginning. I know your delicious Mervyn bread. It is an unfortunate fact that fine food is oft regarded with contempt here in Charlian. Many see the pursuit of gourmet cuisine as a trivial distraction, an inefficient use of one's precious time. Yet when a tired researcher craves a refreshing cup of sweet tea, is it a question of simple desire, or is it a body's way of signaling the lack of certain nutrient? What of the comfort afforded by those inefficient tastes and flavors? Surely we have all experienced the calm and reassurance provided by a hearty dish. Same principle can be observed with the soothing familiarity of home-cooked favorites. Why, when my academic cogitations are frustrated by some intractable problem, it is for that very soothing effect that I visit my beloved laugh stand. Such I submit that taste plays a far greater role in our well-being than simple enjoyment. Imagine, if you will, a prolonged crisis, then tell me which of these foods would you prefer to consume day after day after day. Faced with a struggle to survive, which of these meals would best serve to bolster your mental and emotional fortitude? To be perfectly honest, the very thought of eating Panelo for more than a single day brings me to the edge of panic. Hardly a state one wishes to be in when dealing with a crisis. Yes, even when taking into account the additional effort required in its preparation, a satisfying meal is more likely to contribute to the rational frame of mind, which in the long run may prove to be more efficient benefit. Now that all interested parties have made their arguments, the time has come to put the matter to a vote. The results speak for themselves. Panaloaf, 1 vote. Mervyn Bread, 5 votes. Congratulations, Mr. Breuer. Your submission has been accepted as Charlene's official emergency meal replacement recipe. Yay, we did it. Professor, your research is still very much a part of. He's a sore loser. But he call a ambulance. Yeah. Run you little ass. Well, that was near a thing. At least until our last stand supporter chimed in. I never knew he was a former member of the Forum. I'd say we can safely call this the end of the matter, although there is one last thing I would like to ask. Despite his rigid way of thinking, Professor Galvaroche is not a bad person. Perhaps I can make him a nice meal to soften the blow of his loss with a little expert help. Very well. I'll get my apron. I knew you couldn't refuse. When you have a moment, come and meet me at the last stand. I just let that old man die already. Old emergent. Now, as for the professor's meal, I thought we might make him a serving of fish cakes, one of our local specialties. According to Master Dickon, Mervyn and Galvaroche used to eat them all the time during their student years. To prepare the fish cakes, you take a white fish and some onion and grind it in all into a paste. Add milk and pepper and knead well, then sprinkle in the flour before rolling the mixture into oval shapes and frying them in boiling hot oil. You don't need the entire recipe, but the oil is important. If you can make some exceptional frying oil, will improve the overall flavor of the fish cakes. The rest of the dish you can leave to me. If you find yourself lacking ingredients, Master Dickon has graciously agreed to provide us with whatever we need. Ask and ye shall receive. I'd pay to see you wipe the frown from that sour-faced grump. Right, let's get cooking. I know, he just made me angry. You have to be a dick about it. How is your part of the recipe coming along? Perfect, this will be the ingredient which brings the whole dish together. I've already sent the message to Professor Galvaroche asking him to meet us here. Hopefully he hasn't eaten yet. Why did you send for me? To taunt me with your victory in the place which I care for the least? Of course not, sir. We only wanted to offer you this meal as a gesture of goodwill. Please eat. Enjoy. That was good. May be simple dishes, but Charlean does have its own local specialties. The art of quality cuisine was never wholly absent from our culture, despite what people think. I would never argue the importance of nutrition, but I believe what Master Jalvez says is true. Enjoyment of a meal tends to encourage digestion and thus a more efficient intake of nutrients. When I first proposed a recipe for Archon loaf, I did so with Mervyn in mind. He was always so focused on his research that he neglected his dietary needs, and I thought to devise a convenient yet nutritious source of sustenance. He was taken from me before I had the chance to complete it. I was grief-stricken, angry at the loss of my friend, and his gourmet lifestyle became the target of my rage. Though it pains me to admit it, he was responsible for his own actions. It was wrong of me to lay the blame on the thing he loved most, loved too much, it seems. But considering the arguments laid out at the evaluation, I am forced to recognize that taste is an integral part of my work. I'll begin research on a new perfect meal, one which will taste even better than your vaunted Mervyn bread. But Mervyn bread was never solely ours, Professor. It was your research and your panel loaf which provided the nutritional basis for our recipe. Billy and I simply improved the palatability while maintaining the balance which made it healthy in the first place. Mervyn bread is as much your creation as it is mine or Zilly's, which is why I implore you to continue improving it. With your resources and expertise, there is no one better positioned to solve the recipe's lingering issues with inefficiency. In that case, I shall need an assistant. Together, you and I will test the boundaries of what is possible in the field of gourmet health cuisine. Speaking of fine foods, I do have one complaint about these fish cakes of yours. There were too few. I seem to recall the dish being much larger back when Mervyn and I used to eat them. Are there any more, perchance? Okay. Came around pretty quickly. I do believe that was the first time I've seen the professor smile. I'm glad our fish cake special had the desired effect. My work at both the studium and the last stand has just begun. I have an entire city to convince of the benefits of fine dining. Fortunately, it seems the professor is on our side now. We can expect the laboratory's research to expand into taste-related fields, and as part of my ongoing mission, I will do my utmost to see that it succeeds. Ah, yes, this place is well suited for the study of flavor-based nutrition. Begin our research into more efficient preparation methods immediately. Here I thought my days of frantic baking were over. I'd better wash out my mixing bowl. Thank you for all your help. I could not have asked for a more perfect kitchen mate. Please do come and visit me from time to time, both at the studium and as a valued patron of the Last Stand. Level 90, Charlayan Cuisine. Complete. Team contributor, Faculty of Medicine, you have completed all of De Broglie tasks. De Broglie is deeply moved by your efforts. She now considers you a virtuoso baker. You have completed all of the studium quests. It seems Calliope has something that she would like to ask of you. Visit her at the main reception counter in the studio. Achievement unlocked. Winning bread. Yay. Level 90, the Meeting of Minds. Calliope has been eagerly awaiting your return. Ah, Zilly, just who I was looking for. I wish to thank you for helping the students and staff from the various faculties. Their work has become the talk of the studium. You've made a real difference. Actually, while you're here, there's a pressing matter I wish to discuss. Having heard the many glowing accounts of your work, another official of the studium has requested an audience. Would you be able to spare time to speak with him? Wonderful, then let us head to Learner's Meet. He should arrive any moment now. Let's take a seat. My apologies for keeping you waiting. It's a shame. Before we proceed, I wish to extend my sincerest thanks on behalf of the studium for all you have done to aid our faculty and students. By the sounds of it, they have made remarkable findings, one and all. That is why I would hold an assembly that we might discuss overarching impact of their research. Such gatherings are how academia evolves and advances, the shared knowledge of our works, be they successes or failures, that all may strive to improve. Precisely, knowledge begets knowledge. Amassing and combining findings from a host of fields often leads to creation of entirely new disciplines, one of the very reasons for which the studium was founded. Brings me to the reason why I asked you here. Might I prevail upon you to speak with the faculty and invite them to this meeting? It would be my pleasure. Is there no one else who can ask them? Excellent. I can think of no one better suited to the task. You were, after all, a key factor in all their successes. Splendid. You have my thanks. Well, that's that then, and you needn't rush to deliver those invitations. Pray speak with the faculty and students in your own time. When you've finished, return here and I will see the readying a chamber for the meeting. Wrong door, fool. Lily, I must admit, I didn't expect to see you here again. See, I've certainly heard of such events, though I never dared dream a student such as myself would be invited to one. Don't tell me you're getting cold feet already. The Jude I know would relish such a challenge. Perhaps you're right, Joromir. This would be the perfect opportunity to demonstrate what a boon to the Starlands could be to the academic community. All right then, Joromir and I will set to work preparing a presentation at once. What a pleasant surprise. Would you care for a quick meal at the last stand to commemorate our reunion? Well, that sounds wonderful. It would be an honor to attend. I may never have a better opportunity to inform my peers of the benefits of fine dining. Perhaps I will invite Professor Galvaroche and a few employees from the last stand to prepare samples of Mervyn bread for those in attendance. In any case, there is much I must do to prepare. Until then. Well, well, look who it is. To what do I owe the pleasure? Oh, that sounds lovely. Long last, your research will receive the recognition it deserves. Oh, Professor. Oh, Boric, stop. I understand how you feel, but this is no time for tears. Professor Nemono will wish to attend as well. Like as not, I'll have a word with him and see if we can't prepare a suitable compilation of our works. Ah, what a surprise. Don't tell me you've come with a souvenir from some far-flung land. Oh, first I am promoted to tenured professor, then this momentous opportunity presents itself to me. Of course I shall attend. Were it not for you, I never would have proven my theory, and I would be a fool to overlook a chance to present my findings. Yes, a bold first step in honoring Professor Nell's legacy. It's good to see you. Lest you wonder, Professor Tankin and I are doing quite well, but to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit? That's so. I suppose the professor and I could share what we've learned from the various cultures we emulated. Come to think of it, we've yet to share the news of our union either. The proposal was so sudden, we scarcely had time to invite any of the faculty, let alone hold a reception. All the more reason we should attend. We will be there, absolutely. Professor Tankin should be most glad to hear about this. Welcome back. Well, what did they say? Very good. They've all worked so very hard. It's heartening to see their efforts will be rewarded. Assembly will be held at Aporia and Labyrinthos. I have no doubt they would be glad for your attendance, so please do stop by if you have time. Oh, before I forget, the Skull requested you be treated to a meal at the last stand as thanks for your help. As there's still time before they're set to begin, would you care to go now? The last stand, then. Hope you don't mind, but I've already ordered for the both of us. The meal was meant to be for you alone, but I'm sure the Scholark will forgive me for partaking of his generosity. It's true, my sister has the diet of a savage, naught but rock-hard bread and wildflowers day in and day out. Forgive the interruption, but have we met? I swear you're the spitting image of one of those intrepid adventurers that visited the moon. Aha, I knew it. The name is Searching Way, by the way, seeker of knowledge and all things curious. Loprit, my, if you aren't the most adorable creature, forgive me, but I cannot help but notice how wonderfully fuzzy your ears are. May I? Begin with my ears, honestly. What is it with you people and very well, you may rub my ears, but I must insist on something in exchange. Well, some of our finest academics will soon be gathering at Aporia. I have no doubt they've curious and otherwise intriguing things to talk about. See, may I ask for the reason for this meeting of minds? Share their research to see who's the smartest in the studio. That would be me. Perhaps further explanation is in order. Greatest minds of Aetheris come together to share heretofore unknown knowledge. That really does sound intriguing, and you'd allow me to observe this gathering? You would first need permission from Scholark Monteshane, but what are we waiting for? Where is this Scholark Moradiju? Scholark Monteshane, and please bear in mind there's a chance he may refuse you. Still, I see no harm in asking. If you would go to Learner's Meet, I will have him meet us there. Splendid, let's hop to it then. Right, well, I better go and... Hold on a moment, I never got to rub his ears. Yeah. Take your shot. Oh, Kienzili, what is it you wish to discuss? Searching Way here is very keen to attend the forthcoming meeting you've arranged with the faculty and students. I came to Aetheris in search of the curious and wondrous, and this place is both in equal measure. What's more, it smells of knowledge? I should certainly hope so. Charlian is known as a great seat of knowledge, and the studium is the foremost of its many academies. It's our honor and privilege to encourage the scholarly pursuits of students and faculty both, their shared insights giving rise to heretofore unseen disciplines and fields of study. That sounds absolutely fascinating. Oh, please, sir, may I attend this academic meeting of yours? Ha ha ha, by all means, the more the merrier, I say. Thank you, Scholar Monteshane. I will inform the relevant parties of his attendance and see to it he has clearance to enter Labyrinthos. Thank you, my dear. His clear, searching way is a kindred spirit with a passion for learning, and I could not very well deny him the opportunity to sate his curiosity. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We haven't much time until proceedings get underway. Let's get going, shall we? Absolutely amazing. I've most certainly come to the right place. Gonna hell get an aquarium down there, huh? Because the proceedings were to your liking. It was magnificent. There's so much we Loppers have yet to see of Aetherius, so much to learn. Earlier you mentioned how they create new disciplines by sharing. Does this mean you plan to have all these people working together in the future? I do indeed. That is precisely why I suggested this meeting of minds in the first place. The exchange of knowledge and ideas will invariably lead to ever greater discoveries. How exactly do you plan to combine their fields? They seem entirely unrelated to me. Any thoughts, given all you've seen? I imagine you must have an idea or two as to how to further advance their work. They could find a new use for Labyrinthos. They could explore the Sea of Stars. They could explore the great unknowns of the universe. Oh, you've touched on the very heart of learning, my friend. The desire to conquer the unknown is the first step in all great discoveries, and I dare say there is no greater unknown than the great expanse. Well said, Skylark Montaigne. We too have been giving thought as to what our combined efforts might accomplish. It occurred to me that by applying Professor Tlaka's research on etheric currents to the data obtained via my star lens, it may be possible to discover other stars capable of supporting life. We needn't stop there. Thanks to the work done here on Labyrinthos, we know travel to other stars is possible. With sufficient stores of Mervin bread, we could surely weather the journey, however long it may be. Marvelous idea. The Golden Jada should prove useful should we require the translation of foreign languages we may encounter there among the stars. If we can communicate with those we encounter, we would be able to share our cultures with them. You can leave that part to Professor Tankin and me. Send him to the last dregs. With you all working together, your chances of encountering heretofore undiscovered intelligent life are better than good, I'd say. What would you say if you met them? I'd tell them about hope. I'd tell them about what Metion was searching. That's it. Etienne was sent out to explore the stars and search for the meaning of life. Sadly, her fruitless quest led her to the very depths of despair. But you could do things differently. You could go and spread the word that hope yet lives on. Most admirable endeavor, and who better than we to see it through? After all, not even the final days could extinguish the flame of life on this star. That was brilliant. Part of me is glad it's finally over, though organizing everything was no mean feat. More importantly, I can't quite believe that your offhand suggestion has effectively created an entirely new academic field. I suppose if anyone should be taken seriously on the subject of seeking out the unknown, then it's you. It's rather exciting to think I might someday help in the exploration of the stars. At any rate, thank you for everything. Oh, but wait, where's Searching Ray? I still need to rub those adorable little ears of his. Level 90, the Meeting of Minds, complete. Even unlocked, overeducated.